morning. Hope you're all well today. We can continue on with the Russian Revolution and the Tsars. There's someone we got to talk about. He's a very interesting figure, and you can't really talk about the Russian Revolution without talking about this guy. His name is Grigory Rasputin. Now, who was Rasputin? Who knows? There had been legends and legends and legends upon legends written about this guy. I don't think any other historical figure has more question marks than Mr. G. Rasputin of Siberia. You see, this man had something, they say, the devil in him from childhood. Born and raised in Siberia, basically had, I don't know how you'd call it, the ability, as people thought, of seeing the future, of healing powers, who knows? But basically, he was a self-professed monk who ended up in St. Petersburg. Now, at that time, St. Petersburg was where the Tsar was. Now, you remember last time I mentioned that the Tsar had a son? Absolutely. The Tsar and Tsarina had all these children. They loved them. They loved all of them. Girls like Olga, and of course, I can't remember the others, and the most famous daughter, of course, Anastasia. But they wanted a son. They wanted a son who could be king, to rule forever. And they finally had one, and his name was Alexei. Alexei, of course, was everyone's favorite. Everyone loved Alexei. However, the problem was Alexei had hemophilia. Beset with grief, the Tsarina tried to comfort her son with this awful disease. Doctors said, sorry, there's not much hope. This is an awful disease. And of course, in her grief, she searched everywhere to find a cure to help him. Well, as we know, the wheels of history turned, and just at that moment, Rasputin happened to be in St. Petersburg. He was called upon, and what comes next is, of course, a lot of legend. Did he heal the boy? Was it because of power of suggestion, or was it because he forbade the doctors to give him aspirin, therefore, which thinned his blood, which of course, therefore, it helped him in the short term? Who knows? But shortly thereafter, he was a valued member of the Romanov family. In fact, there are pictures of them. I'll put one on right now. To show you, this is how close the family became. Now, when Tsar Nicholas went off to fight World War I, who did he leave in charge? Well, he wasn't in charge, of course, but he certainly was there. And the optics, again, were not good. Who was this crazy monk, this drunk monk, sitting in the palace? Was he having an affair with the Tsarina? No one knows. The point is, the Tsarina loved him, the kids loved him, and he was there as a protector for Alexei. Now, Rasputin had another little side adventure or occupation. He also liked to make his rounds in St. Petersburg with some of the ladies, the local ladies. These were upper class ladies. And of course, they trusted him to help them with his healing powers. I'll just leave it at that, kid. So basically, a lot of jealous husbands invited Rasputin over. And of course, this, if you've ever heard the Boney M song, Rah Rah Rasputin, or played Dance Dance Revolution, which I hope you do, you'll know that, of course, they poisoned his wine, they shot him, they threw his body into the river, and that was it for Rasputin. However, a lot of people, they say, or Rasputin had a huge impact on creating the negative image of the Romanovs with the people. And of course, things were ripe with communism. 1917, as I said, the Russian Revolution happened, and the Tsar and his family, including Alexei and Anastasia, were disposed to house arrest far from the capital. What will happen to them is tragic. They, in fact, are taken to the basement. They are told they're taking a photograph of the family, and Lenin orders their execution. And they are shot in the basement. And to this day, they have not all been found because, of course, their bodies were buried in an unmarked grave. Legend upon legend. This family has so many. Anastasia, there was a rumor that Anastasia actually escaped somehow. That never happened, but of course there was a woman who I do believe escaped to the United States or somewhere, and she claims to be Anastasia, right? Anyways, the legend was born. If you want to see it, then you just have to get Disney Plus and watch Anastasia. And there you go. But I wouldn't trust that history. Anyways, enough for now. Remember, study hard, don't panic, and be well.